Welcome everyone. In this video we're going to talk about Python object and data structure basics. So in this part of our video series we will begin by discussing basic data types. And these are your basic building blocks of code when constructing larger pieces of code. And we're going to quickly discuss all the possible data types that we're gonna talk about in the section. And then we'll have videos that go into a lot more detail about each one. So don't worry about memorizing all the information shown here, this is more just a quick overview, and there's going to be a video on each of these data types as we go on throughout this section. So, the data types that we're going to be discussing are the following in this table. Here we have the name of the data type on that left-hand column, and then there's the type. So, what that means is just Python has an internal keyword for this name. And you're not gonna get the whole word integer, the whole word floating point, instead of Python has kind of a shortened keyword. So that's the second column, such as int for integer, str for strings, etc. Then we have the description column, and that's just going to be what the actual description of the data type is. So, let's quickly go through these. We start off with integers, and those are just basic whole numbers. Such as 7, 30, 400. Then we have floating point numbers, and those are members of the decimal point. 4.5, 21.3, 300.0. And notice here that even if you have a 300.0, that still counts as a floating point number, that's no longer an integer because it has a decimal point. Then after that we have strings. And strings are an ordered sequence of characters. You can think of these as just kind of words. But you also knows that they can be numbers as well as foreign characters inside of a string. The main thing that denotes string is that either has double quotes or single quotes. Here we can see we have hello in double quotes. And Johnny in single quotes. We have 400 inside double quotes, that makes a string. It's no longer just an integer because it has double quotes around it. Then we come to data structures. And data structures are a little more specialized than basic data types and data objects. Because they can actually hold data objects in some sort of sequence or in some sort of mapping. So here we have lists. And these are ordered sequence of objects. Here we can see that we've been able to use square brackets and commas to have a sequence of other objects, such as the number 12. And the number 500.3. And then the string hello. Dictionaries are another data structure that can store other data types. Except in this case, instead of having an ordered sequence, they have unordered key-value pairs. And we'll be discussing in a lot more details how dictionaries work. But here we can see that we have a key, then a colon, and then the value. And it's denoted by curly braces as far as if it's a dictionary instead of just being on the list, which has square brackets. But then we have something like name, and then colon, and then the value of name is Frankie. Again, we'll be discussing dictionaries in a lot more details. After dictionaries, we have tuples. Sometimes they're also called tuples. And these are ordered immutable sequences of objects. They look a lot like lists. Except they have parentheses. And they're immutable. Meaning you cannot change an object that's already in that sequence. So we'll be discussing what immutable means and a lot more details when we discussing tuples. Then we have sets, which are an unordered collection of unique objects. And again we'll talk about that in a lot more detail. They're a little similar to a dictionary, but they don't have key-value pairs. Instead, they're just unique objects in some unordered collection. So you don't have that colon key-value pair. Again, we'll discuss in a more detail later on. Then finally we'll talk about booleans, which are just logical values indicating true or false. That is how we have capital T and capital F. That sort of syntax is necessary for Python. So those are all the basic data types. Again, don't worry if you didn't understand any of this. Or didn't want to memorize any of this. I'll upload videos on basically each of these topics and a lot more detail and show you how you can use them throughout your own code. Okay, so let's get started with the next video. So guys, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for more videos and updates. Thank you.